Any ideas why they're trying to get all these people to come to the U.S.? I mean, I know the people on the internet have a lot of ideas.
I mean, it's an interesting way of disrupting your your
Enemies, or
I mean, if you have enemies abroad, you have people sending chemists to show cartel groups how to make fentanyl in Mexico. You have fentanyl laced heroin exploding all across this country, and it's being produced in Mexico. And you have a cartel group in Mexico that grew exponentially during the COVID epidemic, and the only reason it did so was because it had access to the Pacific side seaports and an open relationship with a supplier from China. So
That's what I was going to ask. China seems obvious.
It's pretty. A lot of people in Mexico that observe these things closely, and I have a lot of friends that are still active.
It sort of feels more and more like China planned our downfall 50 years ago, and we're like catching it at the last minute. It's too late.
I mean, from my experience, looking at some of these things progressing, you see this new cartel down there, the Cartel de Jalisco de Nueva Generación, the new generation cartel. A lot of videos on them on social media where they have all this military equipment and they're raising their rifles and stuff like that. They are expanding like at a dramatic rate across the country, and people don't realize, they can't figure out how it is possible for these groups to be expanding. And they're like, well, I mean, they're a violent group and they have connections in Mexico. They're obviously a proxy group for somebody externally. And then you realize that on the state side, these criminal groups are using Chinese banking apps to hide their money to send back to Mexico. Right? So,
Nice.
Wow.
and also fentanyl, just the massive amounts of fentanyl being brought into Mexico and now being produced in Mexico. People say, oh, criminal groups in China are smuggling it out. That's not how China works. That there's not a secret Chinese criminal enterprise that doesn't talk to the government out there.
Right.
It's, if it's coming out of China, it's Chinese state knows about it.
Yeah.
Legalized weed brought fields of classically planted marijuana fields turn into poppy fields in Mexico.
Whoa.
And somebody figured that
So we got to legalize opiates now, so that the fields will turn into what? Like
I mean, so
meth labs?
so the heroin out there is not that strong, not like the Afghani stuff. So they laced it with fentanyl.
Wow.
So they legalized weed in Mexico, and then they started planting opiate.
As soon as you saw the
poppies?
legalization of weed in California, some of
Yes.
the crops changed into poppy, and this is around the time of the prescription opium epidemic and how it was kind of waning down, and they were ready for something else, and that something else was fentanyl laced heroin. And now the new thing is bogus pain medication laced with fentanyl. So now you're finding weird pill presses in Mexico, and they're manufacturing something that looks like a.
But this is killing their own customers.
That is the suspicious part of it.
Yeah.
Classically, cartels didn't behave that way. Sinaloa cartel wouldn't behave that way.
Right.